Welcome to Voice of San Diego at Home. It is May 27th, 2020, Wednesday, May 27th, 2020. They say that time goes by slow when there's something novel going on, when it's just new, and that time goes by fast when there's routine. I think we are in the fast portion of all of that. Welcome. Thank you for joining me again. We missed Monday, Memorial Day. I spent a lot of time in the ocean and with some family and enjoyed it. Obviously, being very safe, using the UV rays to my advantage. Hope you all had some time to relax, and I look forward to going through. We're going to go through some news focused especially on the big decision in the city of San Diego Friday about the future of Mission Valley Stadium land and about the future of SDSU's plans for that land. Stay tuned for that. Also going to talk about masks and a few other things, and we're going to go through the grand reopening as we try to understand where we're at and where we are headed. But first, I wanted to share a cartoon. So you might have noticed it this weekend. Steve Breen, the Pulitzer Prize-winning cartoonist from the Union Tribune, had this piece up this weekend. Basically had a single message saying there's a guy kind of lazy. It looks like he's just been chilling out, got his pizza, and the devil's on his shoulder saying, this is the whole thing, stay at home order. This is the order. Don't go back to work. You can make more collecting unemployment. And then, of course, the angel who's exasperated, hate when your angel is exasperated, and he's obviously listening to the devil. I was a little bit frustrated with this cartoon. Felt a little off to me, felt a little weird. Here's this guy. Seems like there's a lot of people making a lot of actual rational decisions these days about whether they need to stay in or not, and about whether to go back to work. Imagine, for example, if you're a preschool teacher making very little, if not just minimum wage. They say you can go back to work, the unemployment pays a little bit more. Are you going to go back? Are you going to make that decision? What are you going to do? There's a lot of decisions like that being made right now. But my wife, who is more talented than me and more interesting than me, decided to use her own cartooning skills to sort of illustrate another dilemma that somebody might be having. Let's say schools aren't operating, summer camps aren't operating, maybe soon. Here's what she said the rest of the cartoon should have shown. This was the situation the man is facing. His wife, bye, honey, be back later. Double shift tonight. The kid, I love these odor lines. How much of the story do these odor lines tell? I think we know. And then the classic, what we're all hearing these days, Dad, I need help getting on my Zoom call for school. You can't open the economy without schools, people. We need schools. You can't be demanding or shaming people for not going back to work if they do not have childcare. Childcare is important. Look at this. I love this. The odor lines. Childcare is essential. You cannot make the decision to go back to work if you don't have anybody to look after your kids. If you don't have educational opportunities, you don't know what the future is. You are not going to be going back to work anytime soon. We need to get childcare set up. Going forward with a reopening plan without childcare and educational opportunities for youth, things to do for them during the day, is like watching a train leave, and you can see far ahead that the train tracks are out. They are out. Schools are not working. They are not functioning right now. Don't be shaming people for not going back to work until they are. Everybody knows this unemployment thing is temporary. People like this guy are making decisions based on their rational situation. So a lot of things going on in that cartoon. A lot of things to talk about. Today, we're going to be talking about schools with the Urban Land Institute and me. I'm also going to be joined by David Miyashiro. He's the superintendent of the Cajon Valley Union Elementary School District. The school districts out here are a mouthful. The Cajon Valley Union Elementary School District, and Ben McHugh of Outdoor Outreach. He's the executive director of that program that provides summer camps and such. That'll be at 4 p.m. today. We're going to be talking about the future of schools and childcare, summer camps, all that stuff. How is that going to work? I imagine there's going to be some optimism in that discussion. David Miyashiro is, I think, a perfect guest here. He's not only involved in the deep bureaucratic discussions about what's going to happen, but he's also kind of known for some innovative and design solutions to some of these problems. Also, Cajon Valley has been running some of these essential worker daycare options already. So he has some experience with keeping kids apart. I don't see how it works to keep kids apart and still in elementary schools, for example. Happy to see what he thinks about that. Very interested in that. That's going to be at 4 p.m. The Urban Land Institute is hosting it. If you are a member of voiceofsandiego.org, if you are a member of Voice of San Diego, the member-supported news operation that I happen to be a part of, you get free access to this event. You got an email this afternoon from Anna Gomez to help you understand how to get into that. Go do that. I think it'll be a good discussion. We want to hear your thoughts and your ideas. We want to talk to people as we go through that. I'm obviously going to be on my soapbox, but I'll be all ears. Schools, you can have your salons, your restaurants, everything. Get the schools open. Get them open. Or else, if they're not safe to be open, then nothing. Don't be shaming people. Don't be shaming people for wondering whether they should go back to work when they got odor lines. They got odor lines to deal with. They got Zoom calls to hook up with. If they come back and say school is actually distance learning in the fall, good luck getting people back to work in a productive manner. We're going to barely be able to keep our own productivity up in this house, in this kitchen. I can't be in this kitchen. I ruin the whole house when I talk like this. They can hear me from here to San Onofre. So hopefully we can figure that out. And we will take your questions. Wednesday is when I take your questions. I had a member coffee this morning, 120 members from Voice of San Diego who make this possible. Got tons of great questions I'm going to pass along to staff. I want to hear your questions. What do you need to know? If I can answer it, I'll answer it. If I can't, then I won't. Okay, our main story today is going to be this poop. Let me explain a little bit about this facility. It's called the Point Loma Sewage Treatment Plant. It's in Point Loma. That is our main sewage treatment plant in the city of San Diego. It takes our poop, cleans it to a primary level, and then dumps it into the ocean. That's not okay. That's not enough cleaning of the wastewater. So for years and years and years and years, we have gotten a waiver from the Environmental Protection Agency to allow us to continue to dump not properly treated sewage into the ocean through a pipeline that runs under the ocean, goes several miles out into the ocean, and that's where all of our waste goes. Okay, keep that in mind. Do you understand that? Keep that in mind. So that is important to understand. Our main story, SDSU, Friday. The San Diego City Council is set to review and give final approval to the historic deal to sell Mission Valley Stadium land, the Qualcomm Stadium, SDCCU Stadium, to San Diego State University and all the land around it so that San Diego State can build a new stadium, a river park, hundreds, thousands of homes, a hotel, more campus facilities, all kinds of things they want to build there. They're going to start simply by grading the entire area. They're going to move a ton of earth, a lot of earth being moved in that area if they get this deal done soon. Friday is the day the San Diego City Council called a special meeting. They do not often do that. If this weren't a pandemic, this would be a huge story in local news right now. Friday is D-Day for this giant and historic deal, but something is holding it up. Late Friday, San Diego City Attorney Mara Elliott released a special memo. Now, Friday evening memos aren't our favorite because it seems like you're trying to hide it. I'm not sure she was trying to hide it as much as just get it out as soon as you can. I do not know. But Elliott's deputies wrote that the city would face, look at this, they would face dire consequences in the future, including they would violate Measure G, violation of the city's covenants regarding to indebtedness about the water and wastewater systems, and the loss of future opportunity to achieve successful completion of the phase 2 of the Pure Water Program. Okay, let's go back to this for a second. Go back to this for a second. Point Loma sewage treatment plant. The reason we have that waiver is because, of course, we only treat it to a primary thing. If we wanted to spend billions of dollars to get up to the secondary and clean water standards that we are supposed to be upholding, we would spend billions of dollars retrofitting and making this facility better. But instead of doing that, we pledged to the Environmental Protection Agency and others that we would instead recycle our sewage, recycle our wastewater, and that it would eventually make up 30% of our water needs for the San Diego city and some other areas that depend on our water system. 30% eventually. Phase 1 and phase 2 of what's called the Pure Water Project. And so what the city attorney is saying in this thing is that if you approve this deal the way that it's written, we will lose the future opportunity to achieve successful completion of phase 2 of the Pure Water Program, substantially reducing the city's water production capacity and potentially forcing the city to retrofit a regional wastewater treatment plant in Point Loma at an estimated cost of billions of dollars. So how real is this? This, my friends, is what I'd like to call a teachable moment in local public policy. We can understand what the city is dealing with, and we can also evaluate whether this is a serious concern or not. Here's a question. This is the question day. Why are we treating water as a third world country? Hey. Sorry. Can you get her? The joys of working from home. Why are we treating our water as a third world country? Well, it's something they've been doing since the beginning. They never wanted to spend that money to take it up to the next standard. So they get the waiver. And this is the deal they decided to make so that they don't have to spend those billions of dollars. They might as well capture all of that money or all of that water and re-put it into the system. You understand? Got it? Okay. So where are we now? Iraq and Iran have desalination plants. Yeah, we have a desalination plant right up the street. It's fantastic. That's exactly the technology that they're going to use to treat this sewage. Same thing. You can clean the water and it can be used. Hold on. Is there somebody out there? Sorry. Sorry, guys. This life at home. Hold on. I'm sorry. I have to deal with that. Hey, some excitement. No bird this time. No bird flew in. Just the guy trimming the tree. All right. Oh my gosh, this life is something. Okay, so caught up. Now we are at the next stage of this issue. So here's what's at stake. This is the stadium, right? Right here to the south of the stadium is where they want to put that river park. It's part of the deal. In Measure G that was signed in 2018, they said we're going to build this giant river park. It won't actually, by the way, connect to the river. You're not supposed to go to the river because of how sensitive it is. So it's more of a river-adjacent park. A river-adjacent park. So the river park can be very nice, be able to ride your bikes, walk around, have some fun. But over here is where the city needs, it says, according to the city attorney, eventually to build a giant wastewater facility or some facilities or some pipes or some groundwater monitoring wells, all kinds of things like that over there. Caught up? Get what I mean? You see that? The river park, and over here they want to build those things. Now, the question, as the city attorney put it in this memo, was that the city tried to avoid a situation in which SDSU constructed the river park improvements or other improvements that would be costly or impossible to remove in the future. I'm reading from it. When the city is ready to proceed with the Pure Water program. Nonetheless, SDSU designed the river park and other improvements, including wetland mitigation areas, on top of the city's intended easement areas. That area we just showed. This area here. This area here. I couldn't quite fit it in there. I'm not very good with the graphics. So that's where they said, like, we need that easement, and SDSU is not letting us do that. The SDSU draft PSA would prohibit the city from installing any future public facilities in that area. Okay. Is that real? Is that a real problem? Well, we've asked SDSU officials about it. Jack McGrory, who is on the CSU Board of Trustees, the California State University Board of Trustees, he said, no, man, we have provided parameters where they can put this infrastructure, and it should be sufficient. That's exactly what John Kratzer, the CEO of JMI Realty, said in his own take on this issue, said we've made accommodations for them. It should be sufficient. This memo, though, from the city attorney says it's not. And then she said this, or I'm sorry, this was Barbara Bree's take on what was going on. Barbara Bree is running for mayor. She is a city councilwoman, and she says that this is all a ruse. The city attorney is trying to kill this deal. She's never liked the deal. She said to put the city attorney's outrageous demands into perspective, none of these issues were raised when she approved the last-minute proposal to the Chargers for development of a new stadium and ancillary development of the site in 2017. Had the city attorney's ridiculous easement demands been in place when the property was originally appraised, the fair market value would have been reduced by tens of millions of dollars. Yipes. Barbara Bree in an email today saying this is all a bunch of garbage meant to keep SDSU from building on that property. Crazy, huh? So that is what is at stake. Do you believe Barbara Bree and SDSU, this is all made up? The city attorney should have brought this up. I think it's a good question. Like, why didn't this come up earlier? On the other hand, she says we're in a dire situation. Dire. If we approve this deal without fixing this issue, we won't be able to pursue the longstanding plans we have to make sewage into something we can drink and thus not have to improve that water treatment facility. Fascinating moment in local politics and local issues. Okay, what are your questions? What are your questions about reopening? Can open salons, nail salons, hair salons, barber shops, all can open today. You can also go to houses of worship. You just have to keep your distance from people. I wouldn't go to a church right now. I'm not a godly person, but not my thing. But seems like you should stay outside. It seems like all of these measures, these restrictions are boiling off into one big one. Don't congregate with people inside. Try to avoid that. I've studied, I made this habit out of studying all of these epidemiological studies that people have done, that CDC, for example, has done, sort of analyzing these outbreaks, these super spreading events. I made it a little hobby. I enjoy them. It's kind of like little mystery fiction, but it's not fiction, nonfiction. And it's really interesting. So you have a guy in Chicago. He comes back. He's sick. He's mildly sick. He goes to a funeral. He gets a bunch of people there sick. He goes to a birthday party. He gets a bunch of other people there. It's buffet style food, all inside, and they have and they're sharing the food. And he gets a bunch of people sick. 16 people get sick. 3 people die. Little Rock, Arkansas. Bunch of people go to a church, get sick. Same thing. Buffet inside, all sick. Bunch of people sick. South Korea man goes to a bar, gets a bunch of people, hundreds of people sick, and they have to trace bound and close a bunch of bars after that. So all of these things are, you say, Nancy M. Chase, nail salons aren't open. Not yet. They have to pass their, they have to fill their forms out. But yeah, they're in. Barbershops, nail salons. I even got the message here from the county last night. Let's just double check this thing. Houses of worship, hair salons, barbershops can remove. Oh, okay. Maybe not nail salons. I'm sorry. Maybe not nail salons. Nice catch, Nancy. Thank you. Don't congregate inside is what it's all boiling off to. Gyms next to go probably. But again, they're going to say, just like they did in Texas, that you can't have more than 25% occupancy. 25% occupancy is nothing. Bring it outside, I say. Bring it outside. So that's an interesting one. I've got a lot of activity here. I'm going to probably have to pass on the rest of the show. Send any questions you have right now. Any ideas of things that you want to see us cover? Like to hear that. Anything that you think we should get into. But let me leave on this note. This happened last night. America's Got Talent featured the Voices of Our City Choir. Voices of Our City Choir, if you have not seen it, is a wonderful San Diego organization. Steph Johnson, she's right here if you can't see her very well. She's the one who put together, along with John Brady, runs the Voices of Our City Choir. It's a choir of homeless people. They were featured last night on America's Got Talent. They were featured last night in America's Got Talent, and they were wonderful. It was an amazing feature on how Steph Johnson put together this group and some of the stories of the people involved in this group as they deal with homelessness and how they got involved in this group and how they found music. Now, Steph Johnson and John Brady, who run this, they are not, this is not a feel-good stunt for them. This is a real thing, and they have done special work with these people. And check out the clip. It was a wonderful experience. I'm going to go, not my most smooth voice of San Diego at home, but I appreciate all your support. Go to VOSD.org/give if you support Voice of San Diego and all the investigative work we've been doing. I really appreciate it. Stay tuned for Friday and the SDSU news, and we will talk to you soon.